You know, one of the beauties of Joseph Smith's mission was that he didn't just say, God has spoken to me. He also tells you and I that God will speak to us. What we're going to learn from section 28, however, is that there is an order to how God will speak to his children. Here we are, it's September of 1830, and we're getting ready to hold a church conference. The church is only a handful of months old, and this is the conference, this September conference, when we have our first rebellion, our first internal rebellion anyway, of what goes on. And it all comes about by a man named Hiram Page. Hiram Page had married Catherine Whitmer, the daughter of Peter Whitmer Sr. in 1825, and lived with his in-laws there on the Whitmer farm. In that way, Hiram Page became connected to Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery when they moved up there to finish the translation of the Book of Mormon. Hiram Page is going to go on to become one of the witnesses, one of the 8 witnesses of the Book of Mormon, meaning he beheld the plates and held them and hefted them and handled them. Although he is later in his life going to be excommunicated from the church, Hiram Page always remains faithful to his testimony of the Book of Mormon and the Book of Mormon plates. He's baptized into the church on April 11th, only 5 days after the church is organized. Well, before this conference, Hiram Page found a stone, as you can see here on this quote, 5 by 3 inches in length and 1/2 thick, with 2 holes in it. And there's an image of what it may have looked like. This stone was a seer stone through which he claimed that he could receive revelations. And Hiram Page has a large roll of revelations that he has written down that have come to him. He then teaches these revelations to some people around him, such as the Whitmer family and also Oliver Cowdery, and they begin to believe Hiram Page's revelations. The problem is Hiram Page's revelations are completely at odds with what Joseph Smith has revealed. And Joseph said this about what goes on in section 28, quote, "Brother Hiram Page had in his possession a certain stone, by which he had obtained certain revelations concerning the upbuilding of Zion, the order of the church, etc., all of which were entirely at variance with the order of God's house, as laid down in the New Testament, as well as in our late revelations. As a conference meeting had been appointed for the 26th day of September, I thought it wisdom not to do much more than to converse with the brethren on the subject until the conference should meet. Finding, however, that many, especially the Whitmer family and Oliver Cowdery, were believing much in the things set forth by this stone, we thought best to inquire of the Lord concerning so important a matter, and before conference convened, we received the following, which becomes section 28 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Obviously, when they hold this conference on September 26th, that is the subject of discussion. Note that it is interesting, the subject of discussion isn't whether somebody can receive revelation through a seer stone. They almost take that as face value at the time. The question is, what did the revelation say on the stone? The church talks about it, and they come to the conclusion that Hiram Page's revelations are not true, that he has been deceived by the adversary, and that these are false revelations. And this is what Newell Knight recorded after the conference, by the way, quote, "Brother Page and all the members of the church present renounced the stone and the revelations connected with it, much to our joy and satisfaction," end of quote. And I have this picture here of powder because some of the reports say that they took the stone and smashed it and ground it into powder and then burned up the revelations that Hiram Page had received. So as you study section 28, it becomes very important for many reasons. Number one, go into it looking with this context of deception. We get some principles in here from the Lord about how to avoid deception when seeking revelation and inspiration. We're also going to see some important instructions in here about the order of revelation. I would just call your attention to those concepts as you go into this section and learn what the Lord had to say to the young prophet and the young church and these new followers learning about revelation at this time.